Morning all, how are you all doing? Whoops. Oh, what's going on with my chat? Morning Johannes, Peggy, Stevie, Bellino, Jareska, Andres, John, Philip, Yarmond, Danny, Allegria. Good morning. Morning, it's time. How are you all doing? Everybody good? Excellent. Right, let me just do a quick recap of yesterday. Just quickly cover the news actually first. Let's do the news. Friday today, we've just had the CPI for the Swiss franc, which has come out at 0, so lower than expected. The Swiss franc seems to have dropped, which you would expect on a negative CPI number. So a little bit of a drop on that, nothing particularly dramatic. Wow, pound is flying this morning. Strong pound and weak Swiss franc equals very big movement. So there's first ADR of the day. That wasn't there a minute ago. So yeah, Swiss franc. So a little bit of weakness on the Swissy this morning. We've got Jordan speaking at 10 o'clock as well this morning. May or may not get something out of that. We'll see. Morning, Virginia. So we'll see how that goes. But quite often we don't get a lot out of the Swiss. They don't tend to give a lot of information away. So this afternoon is the big one. We've got non-farm payroll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the stream forward this afternoon to 1:30, well 1:20, rather than doing the New York Open. I'm going to do the non-farm payroll. Main reason because after non-farm payroll, the market open tends to be very quiet. So I'm not going to, there's no point in trying to do an opening range breakout, I don't think, this afternoon, because it's going to be too quiet. So you tend to get all the movement done 1:30, and then there's very little liquidity left for the New York Open. So we'll do 1:20 this afternoon. I'll put a message out about it and I'll reschedule the stream. So we'll come online and we'll trade non-farm payroll a bit later. So that's the news there. The overnight news, few bits and pieces overnight. Yesterday evening, we had Macklem speaking here. Risk of inflation will get stuck materially above the 2% target. There is a risk inflation will get stuck. We know that. It's already stuck. Expect inflation to decline further to about 3% this summer, even as the economy continues to grow. So if we look at the Canadian inflation figure, we're sitting at 4.3. So they're doing very well, pretty much the best out of the lot apart from the Swiss, but theirs obviously is always very low. But and it's coming down at a very decent rate. So they're expecting a 3%, which would indicate that we're unlikely to get any more rises on the Canadian dollar from an interest rate perspective. So probably going to see some weakness coming through in the Canadian dollar from an interest rate perspective. Couple that with the back of oil collapsing. Canadian dollar is probably not going to be particularly strong moving forward through into the summer. So we'll see what happens. But they're expecting inflation to come down to 3%. Apart from that, they've paused. It doesn't mean they've reached the end. But if inflation keeps coming down, they probably have. Other overnight news, Australian housing, we had projections are based on a 3.75 peak rate, with rates dropping to 3 mid-2025. Not quite sure what they're talking about with those projections, but if you look at the Australian interest rates, it's not that, because they're at 3.85 already. So I'm wondering if they're talking about inflation, but not really quite sure. I would say that's interest rate based, but they're already above that. So that can't be the peak rate, can it? Anyway, energy prices are expected to inflate further in Australia as well. So potential for inflation to keep going up, which means Australian will continue to put their interest rates up. So positive interest rates for Australia, negative for Canada. Vilroy said there's several more rate hikes in the bag. Between 2 to 3 is what they're talking about. So going up potentially another 0.75% on the euro. bringing us up to 4.25 as the peak rate, potentially, bringing us up to where we are at the moment, but not looking like they're going to need to get up to the 5s. So bullish euro again, moving forward. Inflation back to 2% by 2025, maybe even into 2024, so that's miles off. So that was the main overnight news. Obviously, bullish euro, bullish Australian, negative CAD. Just a quick look at yesterday across the board on all the different strategies. Market opens in 1 minute. $40 seconds. So ADR reversals. Negative day yesterday, 0.76. A little bit of drawdown control done this morning as well. Sitting in 4.5% drawdown. Nothing particularly drastic there at all at the moment. New Zealand dollar CAD is the only thing that's above 1%. Everything else is as normal, all within normal parameters. H1M5 banked 2% yesterday. Sitting in 0.65. Went green yesterday. Went to positive territory. So yeah, just there's not a lot on at the moment. Everything's over here. So everything's been banked. So looking to get some more risk on. Need some more movement, basically. H4, M5 mean reversion sitting in 1% drawdown. Banked 0.85 yesterday, 0.31 in the bank this morning. So that's done 5% this week. Very good. So yeah, good moves across the board, basically. ADR reversals are the ones which are really getting a little bit stuck at the moment. H1 hedging, 1.67 banked yesterday, 0.5% today, back down to 6.4 drawdown. So dramatic reduction in the drawdown, mainly because that Swiss yen. And obviously the Swiss franc is coming down this morning. So there's a good potential that is going to clear today. That squeeze that we've had on the Swiss yen on that hedge. So yeah, very nice drawdown on this. 7% banked so far. So all going very, very well. So the EA's bagging tons of cash, which is always nice. There's your opening range breakout on the pre-market. 5-minute opening range breakout and the 15-minute pre-market. You are long. Looks like a nice one this morning. So looking at the DAX today and where we're potentially going, the upside is back up at this range. So we looked at this yesterday. It looked yesterday like we were going to crack this. We didn't again. So we looked at this level. This was a 6th attempt to get through this level yesterday. It slammed through it at the open and then pulled right back. Then we had another run at it and rejected again. So this is kind of attempt number 7. We cannot break this 157 level, 15,700. We just can't get through it. So we're off to the upside again today. There's your opening range breakout on the pre-market. So I can only assume that we're heading back up to that previous weekly high and monthly high at ADR today. So long up to ADR, propulsion gap fill, then play it back down again. This is all we're doing and all we have been doing since the middle of April. Still have the gap fill on the cards down here. So we've still got this gap fill to do, the downside. But it just can't, for some reason, we just don't seem to be able to get out that low. But if you look at the market structure on it, on the hourly at the moment, it is very bearish still. So we've got this low that was put in, then we put in a new higher high, then we put in a kind of double bottom, then we put in a lower high and a lower low. So the market structure here has shifted to the downside. So if we don't break this high today, we don't test this propulsion gap, and we put in a lower high here, that opens the cards for a lower low. And that is a proper breakout of that range. So today could be the day. We've got US news this afternoon. We've got Canadian news this afternoon. We've obviously got Jordan speaking this morning, although not a lot's going to probably happen off of that. So we'll see. But there is potential for this to break to the downside today. So we'll see what happens after the open. But open's gone long. So we'll see. ADRs today so far, we've only got two. We've got the Euro Swiss, which obviously these are all going to be Swiss franc related today. So Euro Swiss broken to the upside. Sorry, ADR hit to the upside, straight into that propulsion gap, pretty much filled it and bounced out. So there's no reversal on this because obviously this was the Swiss franc interest rate, inflation figure. So that's got potential to continue to weaken today, that Swiss franc. So we'll see what happens with that one, but I'd be a bit wary about me reverting that because that is quite a drop. Expecting as expected, and we actually got zero. So they put their inflation interest rates up, obviously, and inflation immediately reacted. And the pound Swiss hit to the upside as well. Quite a strong pound this morning as well. So again, mean reversion opportunity there, but I would probably see if we can wait a little bit on this one. 150 to 175 ADR being the optimal area for entry up there, if we can get there. So, look at the size of this move here. Look at what we started there. There's every opportunity for this to get up there today. So we'll see where we go. There's no pound news today and no other Swiss news forecast apart from obviously the speech by Jordan. So we'll see. That might well move it today. So would be very nice if we can get some continuation strength or continued weakness on that Swiss franc. So those are your ADRs. There's loads of weeklies. We're on Friday, so basically anything's fair game today. GU looking like a retest of the highs from almost a year ago. Go a bit further than that. Yeah, so that's that high we identified the other day, isn't it? What's my line gone red? Oh, it's a new MT4. That's why. I reinstalled MT4 yesterday. So there, that high there, basically. What we are looking at potentially going for, which is ADR. So again, ADR hit today would be a beautiful limit order trigger up there, potentially. See what happens with that. That looks pretty good if we can get there. Morning, Marco. How often does the bias scorecard update? Hourly? Morning, outro. There's your 5-minute opening range. So not particularly big today, the opening range. Good propulsion gap targets to the downside today as well. So we've got a little gap potentially to fill as well this morning. Downside. So seems to be rejecting the highs after filling that propulsion gap. So we'll see where we go. It might be a decent short today. New Zealand dollar CAD been stuck up there forever. That's coming down, starting to roll over very nicely now. So you just had a reversal on the hourly. That's just got two positions on that. Loads of downside potential on that one. So pound CAD yesterday I got out of. So did some aggressive drawdown control yesterday on the pound CAD. So closed out completely yesterday, everything. So that was the aggressive DD control position that I took. And I managed to get out of the whole lot yesterday with about 1% or something. So flat on pound CAD now. Probably a little too early, to be honest, because we still haven't filled these propulsion gaps to the downside. Opening range breakout is short on the DAX. So yeah, out of that one. New Zealand CAD obviously is just starting to roll over. So quite possibly be out of that today. So Canadian dollar this afternoon. Obviously, we've got non-farm payroll this afternoon. So non-farm payroll day is all about unemployment figures. So it's the unemployment rate for the Canadian and the US dollar. So if these both come out lower than expected, we will get massive movement to the upside on the Canadian dollar and the US dollar, especially the Canadian dollar, I think. So this one today, New Zealand dollar CAD, we're looking for lower figures on inflation, on unemployment. That will come down very, very fast. So be out of that one this afternoon. Morning, Brian. Morning, Gayrat. Could you please give your vision about oil? A vision? I've had a vision. Oh, what's going on? Something's going on with the new support resistance propulsion indicator. I've just installed this new MT4, and every now and again, it disappears. And it seems to be something to do with when I switch onto a new time frame on a new instrument that I haven't looked at before, it vanishes. Like M5, it will vanish, right? I'll go back to these time frames because I've already looked at them, and it'll be fine. But if I go to M30 because I haven't looked at M30, and I have looked at M30, if I go to M1 because I haven't looked at M1, I did it that time as well. Some weird intermittent thing, but it fixes itself. So, look, it's when it's loading new data for some reason. So it's a problem that it only seems to occur on brand new MT4 terminal installs, which I've never seen before. But all the stuff I've looked at previously doesn't happen. That's the first time I've looked at oil on this terminal. If I switch to gold now, it'll probably do it again. Weird. I have no idea what that is. But it's very fixable. All you do is you just reapply your template. So you've only ever got to do it once. Don't know what that is. Any coders out there? So oil, which is now fixed. Yeah, looking long oil at some point, coming up into these propulsion gaps and this previous support on the monthly, 200 ADR move to the upside. But I just don't know what oil's up to. I really don't. Since that gap fill play that we did, it's just fallen out of bed, totally fallen out of bed. So there's every opportunity, I think, they will test this low down here. So today, you want to be heading either up to there or down to there, one or the other, and obviously scale in accordingly. But I'd much rather be long than short on it. But I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's just, the speed of movement is like zoom, sit around for a few hours, collapse, sit around. That's what it does. It moves too fast. It's just like gold. It's just like gold. It moves really fast, really hard, and then it sits there and does nothing. So you've literally got to flip the coin and go, well, which way is it going to go this way? Because you've got no way of telling. Like Brian's just said, it's get the magic 8 ball out, flip a coin, pick a direction. So where we are at the moment, if it was an FX pair, I'd be saying, yeah, you want to long it because they're going to profit take that move. But I don't think this is speculative. This is supply demand driven. So, don't know. Oil is becoming a very fast mystery to me. Okay, DAX, ORB, short. There's your... Sorry, that's not the 15-minute. That's the pre-market low. 15 minutes going in 3 minutes' time. And the 15-minute is going to be pretty much the same as the pre-market 15 low and the 5-minute high. So looks like it wants to go short, but we will see. The TMD gives the value of total TPs. Is there a way to total your TPs per pair? No. That vanish happening to mine. I mentioned it in the chat. Yeah, it's something to do with new MT4. This is a brand new MT4 installation. But it only does it once and then it's fixed itself. So literally, it's new instruments. If I load up, what haven't I looked at? The Dow. Bang, disappears. Load the template back on. Switch to that time frame because I haven't used it before. Load the template back on. Now flip between those two and there's no problem at all. M15 I've not used. So it's almost like you've got to apply the template. See, M5, I've not looked at M5 on the Dow, but that worked fine. I haven't looked at H4. I don't know what that is. I can't even think in the code. There's nothing in the code that is time frame or instrument specific. Got me that one. I don't know what that is. But I mean, it's an annoyance, definitely, but it's a easy fixable annoyance because I don't know what it is. I'll have to have a think about that one. MT5 version of this, by the way, is going to be out, fingers crossed, today. I've got some final testing to do on it, but MT5, really wish they'd just dump it and forget it. I was telling you this last week about the Indices disappearing. All right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but obviously it fixes itself, so live with it for the moment. Not a problem at the moment. Oh my God, it is a problem. What's going on? Why is this doing this on this? Hasn't been doing it at all on any other MT4. It's MT4 specific. Is this a different build? 1380. I wonder if they've changed something. Trying to load up my other terminal. Where's that gone? There. See, there's no issue there at all. This is the terminal that I was using yesterday. No problem. I hate intermittent glitches like this. You can't, it's absolutely impossible to find out what it is, what it could be. No issues, doesn't do it. Not the market watch. I'll have to have a think about that one. I don't know what that is. Slow DAX today. Yeah. So there's your 15-minute opening range in. So watch your break of that area. Very slow this morning. Be slow. Morning, Kennelly. Morning, Steve. Day 2 of my Forex funds evaluation, up 3%. Good job. Well done. Excellent. I hate Windows 11 so much. Just let me put the windows where I want them to be. And position everything. Trying to take control. So I just got a bank load of cash. One sec. CAD Swiss. I've got a long on CAD Swiss, so that's. So it didn't do it there, did it? Weird. Intermittent problems. Most impossible problems to solve. So CAD Swiss is on an absolute flyer at the moment. I'm just going to stick a trading stop on this. Doesn't do it on this terminal either. So on Fidelcrest, this has hit ADR, which is why I was just looking at it. So this is the Fidelcrest account. We have hit ADR already because the overnight candle on that was absolutely huge with a wick to the downside on the CAD Swiss. But the overnight candle here wasn't. It was that size. So got two totally different results on that. So that is just coming off of ADR on there. So I'm just going to put a trailing stop on that one. 75. And Euro Swiss long. Close one out. That. About that. Good job, Henry. Keep going. Something about the object names that are tied to time frame. But that wouldn't make sense when you change instrument. It does it because that's not tied to time frame. Something in the D in it. I'll think about that later. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and ponder it all day and not going to get anything done. Does the journal on the new terminal hide any clues? No. The journal, basically, all the journal says is it's been removed. Look. Oh. Custom indicator, ADR reversal indicator, removed. Market reversal alerts, removed. Is it removing all indicators? Support resistance removed. So it gets loaded and then removed. No, it's just the support resistance propulsion. That's weird. I'll have to have a look at that. I'll have to push out an update when I can figure out what it is. Every reinitialize when you change time frame. Yeah. So it's an initialization. Every indicator reinitializes. Yeah. So basically, when it initializes, it should draw everything. But for some reason, it's not. It's removing the indicator. So it's D in it, on in it, if you see what I mean. Some weird thing glitch with the code somewhere, but I'll need to figure out what that is. Just have to live with it for the minute. Right. So ADRs, we've got those two at the moment. We've already covered Euro Swiss. That is ADR hit to the upside, and we've got the pound Swiss, which is an ADR hit to the upside, just filling propulsion. We've got more propulsion gaps on M5, H1, a little bit further to go. So at that, I would love to see that get up to 150 ADR area for a short. So again, drop down M5. Look at the reversal alerts on that one. When you get a reversal alert, that'll be a good little short opportunity potentially. Got out of that Euro Swiss. CAD Swiss is still running. So I'm just giving you a running commentary of what I've got going on my other platform. So there's your ADRs. RSIs today. There's a few to look at. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Basically, this one is an hourly RSI extension. So anything you're looking at with regards to US dollar and CAD today, bear in mind, obviously, 1:30 this afternoon, it's all going to go completely crazy. So I don't think either of these figures today, regardless of what they do, is going to have a massive long-term impact on direction, because the unemployment rates, we know these guys are getting to terminal rate on their interest rates. So when you get to that point, it's unlikely that your unemployment figures are going to have an impact on what you're going to do with your interest rates moving forward. So I suspect today we might get quite a big whipsaw, but I don't think they'll really drive it hard in one direction or the other and maintain that move. So anything you look at, you've got to basically, wrong terminal. That's the one that works. So why doesn't it work on that one? So Diamond, answer me this. If it's a problem with init, dinit, how can it be terminal specific? Think about that one. That's the thing that's frying my brain. I could understand it if there was a line in the code that was saying to remove the indicator when you do something. But why would it only do it on one terminal? That's a real noodle fryer. So yeah, with these US pairs today, obviously we've got a nice R extension on the hourly. I only just extended. It's only above 70. Nice propulsion gap fill. Once that's done, basically, we got all the way down here to come. But just bear in mind, anything you do enter new today on the US dollar, you may be getting in right at the beginning of a push against you. Obviously, if the news goes the wrong way. So if we get a very weak US and CAD result, i.e. the unemployment rate goes up, they're all going to drop, which means this is going to fly. So this is in a not a great position at the moment from a support resistance perspective. We've got a couple of monthly highs up here, these purple lines. We've got this black one here, which is the 2-week high. So if we can get ourselves up to there this afternoon, that would be a lovely entry. So that would be above the 75 level at resistance, which is exactly where I'd like to take it. Euro Swiss is pumping. Swiss franc is coming down even more. Aussie dollar Swiss has just hit ADR as well. Okay, so ADR in this propulsion gap. Shouldn't have exited that Euro Swiss, but never mind. Still got the other one running. So yeah, so just be careful with this one right here at an extension. I'd probably wait a little bit further on that one. Same with the Euro odd. It's just getting extended. I'd like to see it a little bit deeper than that. We've got nice support here. So there's a good chance that we are going to get a bounce off of this. So this big propulsion gap is now complete. Nice big target to the upside there as well. So this is just about extended. Really nice area of balance down here. So if we do push down further into these propulsion gaps, there's loads of areas in here where you're going to find some buying start. We haven't had a profit take on that move yet either. So that looks like a good looking opportunity for a long as well. Euro, obviously, we've just had the rate change. They've promised some more rate changes. So all looks good for longs personally on the Euro. Euro New Zealand extended. Got one position on this at the moment, which was taken, I think, this morning. Yeah, I've lost my my day of the week indicator gone. So yeah, that was taken this morning. It wasn't. Sorry, it was taken yesterday in New York. There. That long. So that was the H1 RSI extension. Just extended on the 75. Huge big drop. Not had any profit take move whatsoever on that. So I'll be looking for it to push back up. Again, up to there. We had decent New Zealand, and obviously we had that weak Euro. So big drop down. Into the 24.72 zone. So if we're going to continue on this lovely little trend we've got, the 24.72 area is where we get the bounces in trend. This is where we are looking for a push up. So that's nice. Euro New Zealand. Give me a sec. Twist, where are you? Just going to close out a little Euro Swiss trade I got on. So yeah, Euro New Zealand, very good opportunity for long. Pound New Zealand is extended on the 4 hour. Very similar. If you look at the Euro New Zealand and the Pound New Zealand, very, very similar. Those two probably not worth trading both at the same time, trade one or the other. But same sort of setup. Pound is going a little bit faster. You can see we're extended here. So yeah, potentially good looking long opportunity on pound New Zealand. Hourly isn't extended, didn't get there, but it's come off of a beautiful weekly level. So this is your weekly low. Came and tapped it again, pushed back up into those propulsion gaps to the upside. Again, pound should be rallying. Next week on Thursday, we've got the pound rates. So the interest rates on the pound are going up. So that will make the pound more bullish, potentially. So yeah, good looking opportunity there on the pound New Zealand. Am I only hearing you intermittently, or is it just me? No, sound is okay, as far as I know. It must be the Ed 209 build, yeah. So what else is different about the terminals or brokers? Prefix, suffix, broker time? Nothing. This is basically Robo-Forex. This is exactly the same account, exactly the same everything. The only difference between the old one and the new one is this is a fresh install. Other than that, template's the same, broker's the same, everything's the same. That's what I mean. How can you have one terminal which has a problem and another terminal that doesn't have a problem? Very weird. Anyway, pound New Zealand, I will figure that out. New Zealand dollar CAD coming down nicely. There we go. So New Zealand dollar CAD, we were looking at this one earlier. So 4-hour RSI extension. I've lost my lines as well. I need to draw my lines back on. So that was nicely extended. We got up to almost 80, 75, 80 level. Initial entry, second entry, back at break even at the moment, looking for these propulsion gaps to get filled, coming back down to retest that high on the hourly. That double top there. So that propulsion gap is the obvious target, but I only need to get down to there to ADR to get out today on that one. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, 4-hour and hourly. So that's nicely extended on the hourly. It's been sitting up there at the sort of 70 area for ages. We're coming straight back down into potential resistance. Really nice downside targets though on this. So this looks like a good drop. Euro Swiss 125 ADR. Still pumping. That Swiss is dropping that very hard. Haven't got any. He's not talking till 10 o'clock, Jordan. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar, that's a 4-hour and an hourly extension. So potential drop down to there, or anywhere really to the downside on this one. US dollar should be strengthening up and should be beating these guys. So we should get some decent movement to the downside. Just hope we get some decent unemployment figures later. But nice potential entry on that one. M5 reversal alert has already kicked in this morning and the retest. So there's your M pattern reversal. So it looks good. There's your retest arrow there. So it's that candle there. So that's beautiful. Textbook. Short. US dollar CAD. That's an hourly RSI extension to the downside. So just touching into the 25 level there. Nice propulsion gap target to be filled as well. Slightly smaller one there, which has been done, and that one there. So there is potential for 150 ADR before we get a bounce on this. So it could go all the way down and bounce back up. But initially, I'd look to just bounce back up into there. So nicely extended. Decent move down. Propulsion gap target to the upside. Big propulsion gap target as well. So this is going to be a tricky one this afternoon. So if you're getting into this today, there's no entries on this at the moment on H1M5. I don't think there's any on H4 either on this one. In fact, I don't think there's any trades at all on the US dollar CAD. I think we had an ADR on it. When you're ready. Yeah, so US dollar CAD, there's a long on the ADR at the moment because we had an ADR hit, which hasn't gone anywhere yet. H4 is flat as well. So there's not really been any opportunities on this, as you can see, to get in since all the way back here, week or so ago. So this is the first sort of real potential entry for a long. But with this one today, we've got news coming out at exactly the same time on both instruments. So if we both get a bullish result, we're not going to get a lot of movement on this because they'll both be pushing against each other. If one comes out bullish and one comes out bearish, then obviously we're going to get a strong move in one direction or the other. So at the moment, it's a good looking long opportunity. But bear in mind, obviously, if we do get weak numbers on the US dollar and strong numbers on the Canadian dollar, this thing's going to come down fast. You're going to get easily beyond ADR today. So just be wary of that when you're getting into this. If you're entering here on your first entry, it's either going to do that on the news and you're going to be out and it's going to be happy days, or it's not, and you're going to have to manage it and scale in. There's a good kind of 3 ADR drop potentially down to the previous month's low. So look at where you're going on it, potentially there or there, which is around that propulsion, which is 150 ADR. If that doesn't work, you're going to need to come all the way back down to there probably. So so that's US dollar CAD. It is extended, only just extended on the hourly though, so not the best in the world. We've got US dollar yen extended on the 4 hour as well. So nice potential there for a push back up. Nice propulsion, range. I can't get my words out this morning. My brain's gone dead. I got programming brain. Basically, half of my brain is now taken over by trying to analyze what the problem with that is now. So only half of my brain is now firing because the other half is programming. So yeah, nice area of balance. That's the word I was looking for. We had a price discovery. We've returned to balance. So potential for us to sit back in that range. Difficult one to push out the highs on because we decided we didn't want to do that. But US dollar news, unemployment figures come out lower than expected. We will get that push up. So if we can get that push up, we can get an exit on that today. If not, we're probably going to come back down deeper into the range down here. So we'll see what happens. Nothing you can do about it. It's all down to the news. So there's all your RSIs. And ADR, Euro Swiss, as I said, 125 now on the Euro Swiss. It's not doing it now, look. It's fixed itself. Something to do with data. I can't figure out any code in there that has got anything to do with time frame or instrument specific data apart from this. That's the only thing. And that's such a simple line of code. It draws text on the chart. I can't figure out how that could possibly break it. And if it did break it, why the hell isn't it re-breaking it? It's fixed itself. It's like something needs to be embedded in the terminal. It's like it needs to take the terminal over. Once it's taken over the terminal and it's been assimilated, that's it. We're fine. It's all fixed. Bizarre. Anyway, right. Just catch up. Swiss yen broke a weekly low. Somebody said US dollar CAD. I've already covered that one, haven't I? So Swiss yen. DAX is not very happy today. So obviously, yeah, non-farm payroll day. Unlikely we're going to get a huge move. Obviously, unless there's any news like the Swiss franc. There's nothing you can do about that. Oh, go CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss is above ADR now, so well, depending on which broker you're using, but Fidelcrest, we're above ADR, so I'll be getting out of that shortly. Swiss yen, sorry. So yeah, Swiss yen broken weekly low. Not sure what you mean by that, Virginia. I mean, yesterday it broke the low of the week. This week, yeah, but not really any levels there that I would say that are interesting at the moment. This is this area here is what I would be interested in, which is this propulsion gap break there. So that's where we're headed. When we get there, there's very little targets to the upside. That one's done. That one is still intact, but it's tiny. So I would say down there, but that's going to need a weak Swiss franc or a strong yen. The yen at the moment isn't very strong. Apart from that, that move that we had, that weakness on the yen, we've had that strength come back onto the yen, but it's not, it's not huge. So I get the feeling we're probably going to do more of that. We need to see what Jordan says at 10 o'clock. It's another hour and a half. If Jordan comes out and says that they're looking to continue interest rate rises, just because inflation has come down this month doesn't mean it's going to continue to come down. So if they're going to continue to do that, the Swissy will power up again. We've just had confirmation from the euro that they're going to do 2 to 3 more interest rate rises. The Swiss franc will be moved along with that as well. So it's difficult to be bearish on the Swiss franc. This is just a reaction to the market. Obviously, it's a knee-jerk reaction, which you always get off of news. But I think once they've reached down to finish that, we'll probably get that bounce. So I'll be looking for longs on it. There was a potential entry there on an extension yesterday. So you can take a second one as we come back down into here. But yeah, nothing particularly exciting on that. Lucas, I bought your great indicator market reversal with the dashboard and the EA too. Good man. Enjoy. Question about the EA. Is there a way to speed up backtests? No. Yes. So if you want to speed up your backtests, use control points. So that will speed up your testing. So it says there, a very crude method based on the nearest less time frame. The results must not be considered. So although it does say that, I have done testing with control points. So I left my MT4 running over an entire weekend doing a test on tick data at tick level, right? There, every tick. And then I ran the test again using control points with the market reversal alerts EA, okay, to see what the difference was. The control points testing was 9 times faster than tick level. The results were marginal 1 to 2% either way. So from my point of view, for speed of testing and strategy development, control points is the way to go. And then when you've done your testing on control points and you think you've got what you like, rerun those tests on tick data level to verify them. So run control points for initial testing and then tick data to verify. That way you're going to get a much faster test. So it's around about 9 times faster, 9 point something it came out as. I did an analysis and I put it all in the Telegram group sometime over the last 4 years. So it's in the Telegram group, but good luck finding it. Can't find anything in the Telegram group. Unless you search, obviously, and then you probably will. $2023. Oh my God! You type control points in. Probably not going to be able to find it. But yeah, there is. It's much faster using control points, basically. But you do need to verify. Do all proper testing should be done on tick data level. Then you won't have any issues moving forward then. If it's the first time it's needed that amount of data loaded, you could be trying to draw objects based on data before the terminal has had a chance to load it. Correct, Diamond. I think that's probably right, because I'm looking at high-low points from the last 6 months. That's it. Well done. You only got there faster than me because I'm doing this. Yeah, so basically, in the indicator, you have the option to go back with support or resistance up to 6 months. So I'm just trying to think if there's a way to get around that. So yeah, basically it's unable to do that calculation. So I could put a statement in there to basically say, God, that's really annoying, isn't it? Can everybody just live with it? It's only going to affect anybody that uses a new terminal. This is the thing. I'm just trying to think of a way around it. Because basically what's happening is you're saying when you switch to a time frame like there, you're saying go back and find me the highest and the lowest point for the last 6 months. If it hasn't got 6 months of data, it falls over. That's basically what it is. And so it's to do with support resistance. It's not to do with the instrument time frame. Think about that. Think about that. That's interesting. Many thanks for that hint. All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, just do that. D's the man. Yeah, that's what it is. So if I go to weekly, it'll probably crash. No. Just probably load that data in, isn't it? Yeah, that's why. The M30 waiting for data to load there because I haven't used the M30 time frame. Now it's got 6 months worth of data on the M30 time frame. Everything's fine. But then when you switch to M15, which I have already looked at, or have I? Definitely to do with data. And that's the whole reason I reinstalled this terminal, because data is what clogs up MT4. So you always have this problem in MT4 where it gets to a point where it doesn't work. That explains why I had the problem on Fidelcrest. And I didn't have it on here because the Fidelcrest terminal was new. I'm just seeing if I haven't looked at, what haven't I looked at on here? Yes, CAC 40. There we go. So it's done it on there as well. Right. Okay. Have to have a think about that. Right. So that's all the analysis done for today. ADRs. Watch your ADRs today. Anything Swiss related, be a little careful with, because this Swiss franc is absolutely dying at the moment, which is lovely because I was longing against the Swiss today. So just be careful with these, trying to mean revert them. I would wait until we get to a normal, a decent level. So yesterday's high-low, previous day's high-low, for example, on the Euro-Swiss, 150 ADR would be a lovely potential turning point. 175 ADR. We're very extended. We're about to get very extended on the hourly. No, we're not actually. We're miles away on the hourly because we were already extended to the downside. So coming straight at that propulsion gap, looking to come back up into there. So 175 ADR today, I think, would be the beautiful spot for a Euro Swiss short if it can get there. And obviously bear in mind the news. So if anybody's got anything else they want to look at, let me know. Now go fix it. Yeah, I'm trying to get the MT5 version out. Now that's worrying me because MT5 is absolutely shocking when it comes to data. So if there's a problem in MT4, I'm just trying to get the thing working on MT5, let alone have a problem with switching timeframes. Just trying to think how to do that on MT5 as well. Anyway, glad I checked the Fidel random news generator. Can't trade the euro. Retail sales. Really? What do they call it? So, economic calendar. Where are we? Why don't you get rid of the old news as well? List of high impact red news events for the current month. No, it's not, is it? Not red. Where are we? 4th, 5th today. Euro retail sales year on year. Let's go all the way back down to yellow to find that one, shall we? Oh, there it is. Sorry, couldn't even see it. So that is yellow news. Totally non-impactive news. That's not red. I don't know where they're getting their information from. Non-farm payrolls. All right, we'll give you that one. Net change in employment. Seriously, like, I'm not being funny, Feudal Crest. Right? Non-farm payrolls, that is not what moves the market. It's the unemployment rate that moves the market, right? And then how can you put non-farm payroll on its own, completely ignore the unemployment rate for the US dollar, and then say that there's two Canadian news events which are more important than the US unemployment rate? Beggars belief. They're just, it's almost like they're picking news at random to try and catch people out, aren't they? The net unemployment change is totally irrelevant. The unemployment rate is what is interesting. That is the leading indicator. I don't have this column on my fundamental list because it's just a bit of fun. It's one of the 4 key drivers of market movement. The unemployment change, whatever they're calling it, which is what we call it, the unemployment change, but they're calling it the net change in employment. It's unemployment, not employment for a start, is totally irrelevant. You've got to be very careful with these Feudal Crest accounts. Very careful, because it's the budget. What the hell's the budget release in Australia got to do with anything? Next week, on the 9th of May. It's not impactive news. Not impactive in any shape or form. Australian retail sales are more important than their budget from a fundamental perspective on what moves the market. Harmonized index of consumer prices. No such thing. Making it up. Doesn't make me laugh. They've really gone down in my estimations, Feudal Crest, after realizing this news thing. It's just a load of crap. Total crap. Euro New Zealand recap to understand what to look up. Euro New Zealand. Already got along on Euro New Zealand because it was extended yesterday below the 25 level on the hourly. So the M5 reversal alert there triggered into the trade. Propulsion gap targets to the upside, loads of them. Huge move. So this move here we've got is now 356, which is near as, damn it, 2.5 ADR. Without any kind of profit take move, any kind of pullback. So huge drop. We're either going to get a V-shaped recovery on it or we're going to get a pullback continuation. So that's a long, looking for it to move up into potentially there, which is previous day's support. So this blue dotted line, I might change the color of these because you probably can't see these, can you? Just a bit thicker. So that's probably the wrong color, but these lines here basically. So that is your previous day's level. So yeah, pull back up into there, that propulsion gap. But there's other propulsion gap targets to the upside, much more. So it's either going to do a V-shaped recovery or it's going to do a pullback and drop. But we should be seeing some strength coming through on this euro. So I'll be looking for longs at the moment. 4 hour, you are also extended 25. So that's the, if market structure is going to do that and continue down, that's what we'll find. However, if you look at it long term, Euro New Zealand, we're in a trend. So this is where you'd be looking for continuation and break of that high. So this is the deepest pullback we've had because of the news, basically. So when we pull back, if we were to get to the 72, that's where you would add a second position or at that weekly support. Excuse me. US dollar news, all much higher than Canadian with all stuff. Yeah, exactly. So, it's like, and it's the fact that they pick, I don't know who put this together. But first thing you do is you use the terminology that the rest of the industry uses. There is nobody in this industry that uses Harmonexed Index of Consumer Prices. We use the terminology CPI, Consumer Price Index. There's nothing to do with harmonization. No news feed in the world or analyst in the world uses that terminology. I don't even know where they get it from. I've never heard of it. In 15 years, I've never heard that term used for CPI. Like they're making it up. Consumer Price Index excluding food and energy. It's net CPI. It's just, why not try and confuse the hell out of everybody, basically, is what they're saying, isn't it? It just annoys me, as you can tell. Just annoying. Let's see if there's anything else they call something stupid. Oh, yeah, that thing. The ILO unemployment rate. What's this ILO thing? No one's ever used that. Gross domestic product. GDP. We all know, like, stop trying to be clever. They're trying to be too clever. Again, New Zealand on a budget. Nothing to anything. I didn't even know that was a thing. Non-defense capital goods orders excluding aircraft. 26th of May. I've got to look at this one. On the 26th of May, apparently, you're not allowed to trade during the release of the non-defense capital goods orders excluding aircraft at 3:30, which would, it doesn't even appear, it's so insignificant, it doesn't even appear in the main calendar we use. What the hell has that got to do with trading? If it moves more than 5 pips on that day, I would email them and say, what planet are you on? Seriously. Unbelievable. Anyway, there you go. Feudal crest. £125 Swiss. Why? Yeah, 125 ADR, pound Swiss, big target to the downside, but be careful with these Swissies. As I say, they are on fire at the moment. They throw random orange and yellow folders in to catch you offside. Yeah, it's very weird. Very weird. How much do I risk per trade? 0.25% based on half of an ADR. Soy boy terminology. Maybe for news relative to known country, maybe does make sense. Yeah, but that's not news, is it? This thing, this isn't news. This has got nothing. It doesn't even appear on a calendar. This is the thing that gets me. It's not only do they call things different things that nobody else knows what they mean, they use news which I didn't even know existed. There's no analyst in the world that's going to look at the non-defense capital goods orders, excluding the aircraft. What about the boats? It's just nuts. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist on that day. It just doesn't exist. Why not use the personal income month on month? That was a good one. Let's see if there's anything else we could use. Corporate profits. That might be handy because corporate profits have got everything to do with the Forex market. Let's use that. That's probably something that's going to move it, isn't it? Mental. They're off their heads. They are on another planet. Anyway, we should ignore them. But just make sure, obviously, if you are trading with Fiddle Crest, you're keeping an eye on those. So you put a trade unknowingly at that time, you profit, then you're in breach. Yeah, so basically don't. They're not the only company that does publish a news calendar. EA, there's a lot that will publish news events that you can't trade through. So it's not unusual to have restrictions around news trading. FTMO, I think, do as well. It's not so much that. It's with all the other companies, you will find there will be maybe 3 to 5 events a month, maybe 10 events a month. And it will be the big red ones. So it'll be the interest rates. It will be the CPIs. It will be the unemployment. And it will be maybe PMIs, things like that. So it's the core, it's the leading indicators. We don't pay attention to all the other stuff. It's the leading indicators. We're interested in rates, unemployment, and CPI. And PMIs are part of CPI. That's what drives the Forex market. Those are the leading indicators that decide monetary policy. Monetary policy decides currency strength. So that's what we pay attention to. Whether or not somebody's bought a load of crap that doesn't include boats has got absolutely nothing to do with Forex market movement. So I don't have a problem with not. I mean, I understand why they do it. So a lot of the prop firms, what they don't want to do is have a load of news traders, because news traders are gamblers. So if they stop people trading news events, they stop the gamblers, which is, I can totally understand that, especially if you are actually funding traders. You don't want them playing around here because it's massively volatile. The spreads alone could trip you up. You can spread a quarter of an ADR on a news event. You'll be taking people out. Scalpers will get taken out on stops just because the news event's coming up in 2 minutes' time. So I totally get it. What I don't get is the way that they're doing it on China. You're not even allowed to trade China market. So why? That doesn't move anything. The market doesn't move on this. Nothing moves on this. None of the majors and minors move on that. Why even include it? You don't even allow it as an instrument. It's just ludicrous. So it's just like they're making stuff up for the. No one in their right mind that has been trading Forex for any period of time will ever think, oh, hang on a minute, I've just got to check what's going on with the China news today. Doesn't even enter the equation. However, if you took a trade in the Asian session at 6:15 broker time, they're gonna crucify you for it, and you'd be like, "What do you mean? Nothing's moved. It's Asia." It's just stupid, stupid rules. But anyway, I will stop ranting about it. If I get funded and tripped up on one of those, I'm going to be very cross. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back on at 1:30. So 1:20 this afternoon for the New York session. I'm not going to trade the open of New York. I might still be on, but I get the feeling we're going to have a fairly quiet session this morning, and it will be quiet in New York because most of our movement will have probably happened, unless we get some real big numbers that really screw the market up that they weren't expecting, which I doubt. So, but we'll watch it. It's always good fun watching non-farm payroll because the market goes absolutely tonto. So we'll watch that. So 1:20 this afternoon, not 2:20. I'll put a note out in Telegram and on the socials, and I'll change the time of the scheduled stream as well. So, all right. So have a good afternoon. Brian, it sort of reminds me of brokers offering bonuses when you go to withdraw and they say, nope, you need to trade 1,000 times the volume of the bonus. Yeah. Same as the gambling companies. You know, they say, we'll give you deposit $100, we'll give you $100 as long as you do 2,500 spins of the roulette wheel, which means you're going to lose the $1,000 or $100. All a con. But you can't call yourself a serious trading firm if you're going to stop people trading something to do with non-defense capital orders excluding aircraft. Sorry. Unless that's a mistake, I might actually take a screenshot and email them. In fact, Brian, you're probably better placed to do this. Take a screenshot of that and email them and say, are you serious? ? And just leave it at that and see what they come back with. I think they'll be amused. Anyway, right, so have a good morning. I'll be back at 1:20. We'll trade non-farm, or we'll watch non-farm. And then, see where we go from there. Have a good one. And if you need anything, I'll be in the Telegram group. I'll speak to you soon.